Hi, this is Siobhan Hunter.
Hi, this is Chris Gaunt.
Hi, this is Cliff Pike from Hibs TV.
Hi, this is Tam McManus.
And you're listening
And you're listening to
to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast.
the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast.
Listening to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast.
To Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. Go on the lads.
What a moment this is. It's Liam Henderson to deliver. David Gray has scored. The captain. Hibs are standing on the brink of history after 114 years.
Strong opinion. I love the strong opinion.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Strong Opinion House podcast. It's been a while since we've done one of these, but it's good to be back, especially after pumping the sheep 6-0. So I'm hosting tonight, Charlie, and I'm joined just by Calvin tonight. Jack's a bit busy, and Aidan's going to join us next week. So, Calvin, how you doing, mate?
I am doing fine, mate. It's nice to finally get back involved. It feels a bit shameless coming back after a 6-0 win, right enough. But it's good to be back. Just been busy in that with personal life and things like that. So it's good to be back, mate. And I'm looking forward to talking about Hibs because I've just been going in circles with it lately, but we'll get into it.
Aye. Well, tonight we're going to do just a wee sort of roundup of January, talk about the two Derby defeats and our thoughts on Lee Johnson, and then look at Saturday, obviously beating Aberdeen 6-0. Do a wee January transfer window roundup based on deals that are done just now. Look at the Ross County game, and then talk about the women's stuff, because as you all know, we are the only podcast to do the women's football stuff on a weekly basis. So, we'll do all that. So, Calvin, we'll start with the January thoughts then. So, January's been a pretty down month. Best to say it that way. You know, lost two derbies to Hearts, both from the same scoreline. Obviously, beating Motherwell, drawing with Dundee United, and beating Aberdeen 6-0. So, if you talk to me about January from your perspective, Calvin, what's it been like for you being a Hibs fan this month?
Just based on our form before the World Cup, I wouldn't say I was surprised. I think I am surprised to say that Lee Johnson is still in a job, even though he's just defeated Aberdeen 6-0. However, the first Hearts game, I really struggled to think of a worst Hibs performance, and that was really difficult to say after coming off the back of getting beat off Celtic 4-0. I just thought that the whole way that they approached the game at Tynecastle was almost like we started and we were just waiting to go a goal behind before we started playing. And I know a lot of folks said, Hibs played well second half. Like, for me, it's no good enough, and I didn't accept that. And I think people who say, Hibs played well second half, we could have came back in here. Like, I honestly wish I could be as deluded as you, because for me, it's easy to play when you're getting beat 2-0. Yep. You've got nothing to lose. You're already beat 2-0 down at Tynecastle. I mean, it's pathetic. And I don't think anybody, maybe bar McGeady that day when he came on at half time, I thought he was all right, but I don't think anyone was fit to wear the shirt that day. Imposters, I tweeted after it that it was received quite well. I think I put it something like, no direction, no guts, no determination, no leadership, or something like that. And that was how I felt. It was just a gutless performance. Like, just genuinely didn't think anybody. They just rolled over, basically, in my opinion. It was pathetic, absolutely pathetic. I thought he should have went then. I thought Johnson honestly could have went then, because I thought there's been no progress, and to put a team out like that at Tynecastle was brutal. Just starting Will Fish at right back and then hooking him at half time. Being honest with you, I didn't even think he was the worst defender that day. I think Rocky had a couple of howlers that day as well when he went to header it and then nutmegged him. It was really disappointing. It was just schoolboy errors all over the pitch. So after that first game, I was feeling pretty depressed.
Yeah.
And then I think we moved on. Remind me, who did we move on after that? Was it Motherwell?
We beat Motherwell that Sunday, then we drew with Dundee United.
Right, Motherwell game, I thought would have been a lot closer than it was. Obviously, it ended up 3-2, but Kevin Nisbet hat-trick. It was good to see him back scoring, which is something we've lacked a lot recently has been able to someone to put the ball in the back of the net. So that was very good. I thought after that Derby defeat, for me personally, he had to beat Motherwell and he had to beat Dundee United at home. He had to beat both of them, in my opinion, in order to keep his job. He beat Motherwell. He never beat Dundee United. I don't think we were ever in front against Dundee United either at home, which is disappointing, especially considering how close they were to the bottom of the league at the time. I thought he could have went after that. I thought these players aren't playing for him. He can't get the best out of the players. And then we go into a derby at Easter Road, albeit, again, a lot of folks saying we were the better team. I still don't think, I don't think it matters. I don't think the stats matter. For me, there's too many people that, maybe I'm just a wee bit, I don't know, maybe just not as educated as some other people when it comes to it. But to me, a lot of folk look at the stats, and I've got them here. I mean, 56% possession. Hibs had 21 shots. Hearts had 9. 6 shots on target each. Hearts scored 3 of them. We scored none. Like, to me, possession, I'm no bothered. Total number of shots we have, I'm no bothered. The only thing that matters to me is putting the ball in the back of the net. And the only stat that matters as far as I'm concerned is we got beat 3-0 again.
And we're out of the cup.
I'm out of the cup. I could not see a way back from after that. I thought, I cannot believe this guy's still on a job. I was waiting for Monday morning. I thought Monday morning, 9 o'clock, the tweet's going up, he's got to be out. But there was radio silence. I just couldn't believe it, I mean, you can't just be unlucky and play well and just say, oh, it was unlucky, we hit the post, we hit the post twice and all that, and if that had fallen in, it's a different thing. End of the day, we go beat 3-0, and that's the bottom line. It's poor again. It's embarrassing, especially in our home stadium. And especially you're looking for, being gubbed away to Tynecastle, you're looking for them to have a wee bit between the teeth, to try and have a wee bit fight about them, but I just couldn't see it, mate. And then you look at the 6-0 victory against Aberdeen and you say, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced by it. It's a great result. I mean, it's a fantastic result if you look at it in isolation. But the recent run of results, I think there's still a lot of questions to be asked. There's still a lot of questions to be answered. I don't know if we are, if Aberdeen were just that bad. Did it all just click for Hibs on that day? Because, like Johnson said a couple of times, he said in his post-match interview that it was only a matter of time until someone got a doing. And we've been saying that for years under Maloney, under Ross. It's got to click. Like we're due someone a doing. And like, to be fair, I think I seen Billy King of the North tweet it. Like, today was that the Saturday or Sunday was that day. Like, we did give them a doing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know. I think we'll find out a lot about this team in the next run of games. Away to Ross County tomorrow. These are the games where our season is defined. Ross County away, St Mirren away. 2 tough places to go, mate. Kilmarnock at home. That's a game we never won earlier in the year. We got beat 1-0, I think.
At Rugby Park, aye.
At Rugby Park, aye. So, and then Livingston away the following week. So the next month is, for me, it has to be 12 points. It has to be. If you're looking to, I don't know, make anything of the season, that has to be 12 points, because the games after that, we've got the Old Firm back to back. So there's, I don't know.
It does allow us.
Team.
It does allow us to sort of see what we're all about, and then also, like, if we win all 4 of those, it puts us pretty close to, well, providing results go our way, to Hearts, maybe be 6 points, 8 points clearing 4th. So it does allow us to potentially, like, solidify ourselves as a 4th place team, which is obviously you want to finish above Hearts, but if the 4th's the best we can finish this season, after last season, I'm all right with that. But what's your? Sorry, on you go, mate.
No, just got to say, I think at the start of the season, I think I predicted 6th, or maybe even 5th, or it might have been 7th. So I'm not going to get carried away, because I feel like I still think this team's got a lot of mistakes in it, and there's a lot of new bodies just through the door this last week. So I think that it might take them again a bit of time to gel. But yeah, we have to start winning games that are winnable, especially teams around us in the league. Everything below us in the league, I think we should be beating your St Mirrens, your Motherwells, Dundee Uniteds, Ross Counties, Kilmarnocks. They're even just for a club of our stature, like you look at the resources we've got, you look at the money we've got compared to those clubs, you look at the training facilities, it's a mismatch. It should be a mismatch. Do you know what I mean? We should be pumping teams like that.
Yeah.
But it's often our Achilles heel, mate.
Aye, it definitely is. And I think looking at the games, at the start of the season, if we had, Ross County away, St Mirren away, Kelly at home, Livingston at home, first four, that's games you're thinking, we should be winning all of those. But, we've seen how inconsistent we've been this season. I'm not actually entirely convinced we're going to win all four of them. I think we'll win at least three of them. But I think it's going to. They are tough games. Every game in this league's a tough game. There's no everyone's there on merit. There's nobody that's probably shouldn't be in the league. So and the league's a lot harder this year. People are taking points off everyone. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be an interesting next couple of games. So after Saturday, Calvin, what are your thoughts now on Lee Johnson? Do you still think he should go, or do you think it's worth giving him time? Albeit a 6-0 win in isolation makes it look all rosy, but the past month hasn't been the best. I mean, to be fair, the season as a whole hasn't been the best.
I don't know, mate. To be honest with you, I'm not one of the people that think we have to. Our hands are tied. I think if he loses, let's say he loses 3 of those next 4 games, let's say he loses away to Ross County and he loses away to St Mirren. I mean, let's say he loses the next game as well. I think it's home to Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
Or even if he gets 2 draws out of them and a win.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll be him had 3 weeks to work with those group of players. Like for me, that's not good enough.
I think
nowhere near good enough.
I think if we lose any of these next 4 games, the pitchforks go back out, don't they? I think games that.
I think even if we lose Ross County on Tuesday, the pitchforks are back out. I really do.
I think so. I think these are the games where Johnson should be judged on. I think teams we should be beating, like your Ross County. There was a lot of people after they beat us in November, October at Easter Road that was like, that's them done. And I mean, quite rightly as well, we were awful that night, and you could tell that he wasn't getting a cheer out of the players. But do you think we can be? Do you think we can sack him, or do you think they've maybe learnt their lesson from Maloney, where they're willing to give him a wee bit more time? How do you think the board are viewing this one?
I think the board understand that if they sack Lee Johnson based on his performance, right, and the run results he's got, they cannot justify their own positions at the club. I'm talking about Ben Kinsell. You cannot justify him being the CEO because he's proven that he can't run the club efficiently. That'll be. It looks like he's got the Jack Ross sacking wrong, in my opinion, right?
Based on the 2 after, I would agree.
Based on the 2, he's pointed Maloney. Now, fair enough. Well, he's not pointing Maloney. Gordon's pointing Maloney, right? Fair enough. To say that Maloney was a risk, is Hibs a club at that time? Were Hibs a club where you could take a risk?
No.
I mean, you have to look at this. I mean, Maloney was one of the best young and up-and-coming coaches across Europe. Do you know what I mean? Really good football education in terms of the Barcelona Institute he was at. Something a bit different. I think Maloney had a wee bit hard luck of it, to be honest with you, with losing Boyle straight away.
Yeah.
And it was his first managerial job. I just don't think it was the right mix of things. And Johnson as well. If they brought Johnson in, and we spoke to Gordon as well, and Gordon said that they done it. So it was a very extensive search for the right man, and they're convinced he's the guy. After he's only meant to, what is it? He said he was only meant to spend an hour in a meeting with him or something. He ended up spending 3 hours with him. Yeah. Like, if he appoints and says that he's the wrong guy, if he now turns around and says he's the wrong guy, you've got to start asking questions about their position as well. So I do feel like the board are too arrogant, perhaps, to go about sacking him. And to be honest with you, financially, don't think we can afford it. I reckon we're still probably paying off Jack Ross, or maybe just finished paying off his package. I don't know. I think he did sign a 2-year deal just before he went. And Maloney were probably still paying his wages as well. Could we really afford to have a third and then perhaps a fourth on the books? And I also think now it could be the wrong time to sack him, because I think Aberdeen are pretty much going to get pick of the bunch now, ain't they?
Aberdeen sacking Goodwin, which we'll come on to in a wee bit, it was definitely the wrong time for us, I think. Because I'm no convinced with Johnson at all, mate. I think there's a lot of people, and I'm part of the problem as well, where we beat Aberdeen 6-0 and I think we've got to finish fourth now, but we're not consistent. We're not consistent enough. I think tactically he's inept. Obviously, he got Saturday right. We gave him his due, but
he didn't have much to choose from for Saturday though. So
no,
that might be a wee bit. Do you know what I mean? He didn't have a plethora of players to choose from, so his hands were maybe tied a bit himself. So,
and I think as well, when he spoke to us in the other podcast back in June, he said he was a manager that likes to bleed young players in, and it's taken him 6 months to give any of them a sniff of first team action. Now, albeit it worked because Josh O'Connor and Oscar McIntyre played really well on Saturday, I thought, but I was hoping for youth to be bled in a lot earlier than they were. And I think looking at the signings we've made, he's probably going to have to rely on them a lot more now, because we've only brought 2 players in, which could be a good thing. He done well at Bristol City and Sunderland. Johnson will tell you, bringing these young boys in, but I'm just not entirely convinced that when the director of football comes in, which again, Ben Kinsella I think is playing a bit lip service here. I don't think
100%.
I don't think the director of football will want Johnson in the job unless we finish fourth. But even then, we still got knocked out of both cups at first opportunity. And Johnson historically has been a manager that's done really well in cups. So I'm still not convinced. The jury's out. I think if he wins these next 4, mate, I think there'll be a lot more people buying back into him.
There will be.
At this moment in time, I'm not entirely convinced.
I think for me as well, in terms of Johnson, like he's not helped his own case. Like it's not the fact that the results are bad; it's the decision making. It's the decisions he makes. Like Hearts away to Hearts at Tynecastle, right? He starts Harry McCurdy. To be fair, there was a lot of noise around that. A lot of folk wanted to see McCurdy start. It sometimes makes me think, like, do they just listen to the masses? Sometimes I'm not sure. If there's the social media sort of side and the backlash they get on it has any influence on his team selection, but he starts McCurdy away, hooks him at half time, right? He also starts Will Fish's first ever start for Hibs away to Hearts, right? A tough place to go. Why not start him 2 weeks before at home against Livingston? To bleed him in. Why? Then he hooks him the next game week. Will Fish and McCurdy are hooked for the game away to Motherwell. Fair enough. We win 3-2 thanks to Kevin this bit. Then the next again week, he's got Will Fish back in the team, starting at centre back over Hanlon.
Yeah.
And obviously McCurdy's nowhere to be seen there either. He comes on as a substitute. So before that Hearts game, the 3-0, he was in the media saying that, they too had done enough to deserve a start in training and stuff like that. So they have one bad half of football, and to be fair, I didn't think none of the team played well that first half away to Hearts. No. So how can he hook just those 2 and then put them in the squad again 2 weeks later? It's just like I'm no convinced. And then again, the 3-0 derby at Easter Road, he makes a sub when we're already 2-0 down.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced with his tactics. Sometimes I don't think he's got a plan A. I mean, I was watching us away to Tynecastle and I says to the boy I went with, I says, Ken, what's the plan here? What is the game plan? I can't work it out. I really can't. And you could see what Maloney was trying to do, but I don't know what Johnson's trying to do. I'm still not sure. I think it clicked on Saturday, but I don't know, mate. Jury's still out, I think.
Aye, I think it has to be. I don't think the board are going to rush that decision. I think they're going to give them time, which some fans are already wanting them out the door already, and that's everyone's entitled to their opinion on the matter. But I think we're sort of caught between a rock and a hard place, because if we give him more time and it gets worse, then we're making it worse for ourselves. But if we sack him now, there's going to be this whole Hibs are a sacking club. Does any manager still want to come to Hibs? You know, I don't know how lucrative the job is if you're only getting 6 months. But I guess we need to wait and see. So you mentioned Saturday there, Calvin. We'll quickly dive into a wee chat about Saturday. So what was your, obviously beating Aberdeen 6-0, our first time we scored more than 5 against Aberdeen in a very long time. And we went one better than the Hearts, so that was always nice. So what was your take on Saturday, mate? How did you think the team lineup was, and sort of your thoughts on, we'll go with first half. So first.
I didn't think there was much you could do, to be honest with you, in terms of, I think the team pretty much picked itself in terms of what it had available to them. Obviously, I think Nisbet leaving him on the bench was the right decision.
Yeah.
I think that I just think everything clicked. It seemed like we were pretty direct. It just seemed like I almost want to say I feel like the pressure was off in a way. And I feel like the pressure was off in a way for the players, because what really was the expectation of them? I mean, it was a bit of a makeshift team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of absences. We just lost Porteous. We thought we'd lost Nisbet. So I felt like there wasn't really any superstars in the team.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was just a bit like, just go out and just play. And I feel like they almost looked like they were enjoying themselves a bit. And I think they knew Aberdeen were poor as well. And I think getting the first goal helped us anyway.
Massively.
I think getting the first goal and getting our noses in front certainly helped us, and perhaps made us feel a bit more relaxed and things like that. But no, I mean, Saturday was pretty much a perfect performance in terms. I don't think you could ask for anything more.
No.
What was your sort of thoughts on it, mate?
I thought Hibs were good, but I also think Aberdeen were worse. It's like I think it was a case of Aberdeen were just bad and we took advantage of it. I don't think Hibs played overly well for large parts of the game. I think we scored when we needed to score. I think we controlled the game, but it wasn't like that performance against Livy where I was like, we've actually played really well today. But obviously I was delighted with the score. You know, you can't be unhappy with a 6-0 win, although I've seen people on Twitter are saying that it's just because Aberdeen were bad and that we won. But I thought Josh Campbell took his hat-trick really well. I think I don't know, mate. I think he's proven a lot of people wrong. I think he's obviously now our top goal scorer this season if Nisbet goes. So that and we've been crying out for a midfielder to score for a long time. I think Yuan had his best game in a Hibs top, took his goal really well. I think he's been missing that. McCurdy, fantastic all game until he got subbed. McGeady's a class above, mate.
He's fantastic.
He just controls the game. When he gets the ball, he's actively looking to go past players and get balls in the box. And really, it was as you see, mate, it was almost a perfect performance. I think the one thing I wanted to see was McCurdy to score, but other than that, I think
he worked his socks off though.
He did. He was chasing down every ball. I still think he needs to be a bit more cautious on the ball, maybe pass it a bit more. But other than that, I think thought it was great, mate. I think it was positive. You know, I think it was positive signs, and I think if we can take that into the next 4 games, as we mentioned, I think we'll be all right, and I think we'll win at least. I think we'll get our best shot to win all of them, but I think we'll win at least 3 of them.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the monkey off the back a wee bit as well. I know we've obviously beat Motherwell as well, but I think that will just ease the pressure for them quite a bit. And I think it might allow them to relax a wee bit, and it's beneficial as well because they know they've got that in them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they know they can pull a result like that, and they know they've got goals in the team now. So no jumping to anything, but I think that it's certainly done them the world of good. And I'm not sure they necessarily deserve the praise yet, but it'll come. But I also feel like walking on eggshells here because Hibs Twitter will go mad and say I don't know what I'm talking about. But Josh Campbell's done well. The last couple of weeks, I must admit, I thought that Josh Campbell was just the best of a bad bunch. perhaps I am wrong, and perhaps he is coming onto a game. But I would have said that last couple of weeks. I was thinking he's just the best of a bad bunch. I also thought the same with Bashiri. I know everybody was saying, "Oh, Bashiri's class, like he's most improved in that." But when the going gets tough and you really need these boys to step up, like at Tynecastle and that, like it's never happens, mate. Never happens.
I think
I'm still a bit suspect over a lot of them.
Yeah, I think Josh Campbell's growing in confidence, which is good to see. I think as I said on the tier maker episode, when Josh is confident, he's a very good player to watch. When he's lacking in confidence, he shies away. But I think if he can take confidence for the hat trick and start providing a few more goals, that there's no stopping where we could finish. I think we are 9 points behind Hearts now, mate. But I think if we can find form and they can drop points, there's no reason why we can't push them for third. I know it's a big ask.
I don't think we'll push them for third because I think our heads to heads they'll beat us. To be honest with you, I think Hearts. I think Hearts are light years ahead of us. I do. I think the gap is massive, and I think they're a far better team, mate.
Yeah.
I think their recruitment is spot on. I think the way they play and the way they manage the game against Hibs is spot on as well. I mean, a lot of focus on Hibs had a lot of the ball and Hearts were on the back foot. I think that suits Hearts. They can just soak up all that pressure. Yeah. We can't. We fold. We fold. We've not got it in us. We are the second best team in Edinburgh at this moment in time, to be honest with you. There's no two ways about it. We are certainly the second best team, and for me, their experience in their team as well, like Snodgrass and that, is different gravy. He's absolutely just caveat. He's just the way he commands the team, the way he speaks all the time, talking all the time. And their substitutes is a big one as well, like who they bring off the bench. That boy Humphreys they bring off the bench as it keeps the. I feel like when Hibs make a sub, the standard of the play of the overall squad goes down. When we make a sub, I think when Hearts make a sub, I think the standard remains the same. The quality remains the same. Like bringing Alan Forrest off the bench. Do you know what I mean? I think that's. I think third place is theirs. I think we could make it interesting over the next couple of weeks if we were able to pick up these 12 points, because as I said, we're away to Ross County tomorrow, and I think they're away to Rangers, or they're at home to Rangers.
They're at home on Wednesday.
Do you know what I mean? So that's going to be tough, and that could make it 6 points. And if you look at this way, if that brings the gap back to 6 points, I mean, Hearts fans are going on like they've won the Champions League. They're going on like this is the best season they've ever had. And if this is the best season they've ever had, and it's one of our worst ever seasons, and come January there's only 6 points between us, I don't know if that says more about the league than it does either team. But it's interesting, mate. What do you think about what I'm saying?
I think they are better than us in every area of the park. Off the park as well, they've got everything right. It shows you though that Ben Kinsella said that we didn't need a director of football, and they've got a director of football, and it just shows you how much better than us they are in that department, because the signings are bringing in are good players, and it's the reason why they're 9 points clear in third just now is because they brought in players that add quality to the pitch and aren't just a quantitative number. But I think if we can bring the gap down to 6 points and they lose to Rangers, it does make it interesting, because they will not want to go below us on the table, and it means that they'll have to up their game, and we have to up our game as well. We can't just coast to a fourth. We want to be comfortable in fourth if we're going to finish there.
Absolutely, and I think that would really drive the season ticket sales back up as well, because a lot of folk are feeling disconnected for the club at the moment. I think if they could get fourth. And I think this next stretch of games is vital in terms of where we're going to end up come the end of the season, because there's a few more challenging games towards the end. We have to play Hearts, Celtic, Rangers and Aberdeen again. So these next four, I think we've got Dundee United and Motherwell in there as well. I think these next four are pivotal in terms of where we're going to end up. And for me, we really need 12 points. And that's such a big incentive as well. That we'll really find out what this team's made of. That's a massive incentive to say, right, let's go get these next 4 wins and then have a look at where we are. Do you know what I mean? Because we've took a hell of a beating off the media and our own fans and everything, and rightly so. But hopefully this will spur them on and certainly make things interesting, mate.
Yeah, well, last thing on the game on Saturday, mate, before we move on to looking at the window, what was your thoughts on Josh O'Connor and Oscar McIntyre getting bled in a wee bit?
Brilliant. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I got down to watch them against the under-18s against Hearts, the reserves, and there's a lot of good players in there, mate. There's a lot of really good players in that team, and I know some of the other podcasts as well of talk about Megwa and these types of players. So I think that the quality is definitely there, and I don't see why not. Like I'd rather invest in some of our academy players. Like I know it's all great, like bringing folk like Melkerson and that across, because I do think that boy's a talent, but give guys like Josh O'Connor in that game. Otherwise, there's no incentive. We lost one of the. Who was the boy we lost to Rangers? We lost him. It was a young boy that used to play in the same team as
Connor Young.
Connor Young. Aye, Ken. When I've seen them play a few times. I thought Connor Young was a great player. Ken, we've lost him to Rangers. Like, I just feel like we're losing players like that because we're not really giving them a chance. We're not really bleeding them into the squad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think players would probably be more likely to stay at Hibs because you're more like, let's be honest, you're more likely to break through at Hibs than you are at Rangers.
Yeah.
But no, I think when they both came on as well, I thought definitely a penalty for O'Connor. I think he used his body really well. A bit of a shame he never got to take it, to be honest.
I know. I was
hoping
that.
But
Jim Goodwin was probably in his car thinking, "Oh, he's headlocked Liam Scales. It's never a penalty. He's a big cheat or whatever he called Purchase." But ultimately, it doesn't matter anymore because he got the sack straight after the game, and it could not have happened to a nicer guy.
How did you feel about him getting sacked?
I thought it was hilarious, mate.
Did you?
You know, I think he's an awful manager.
Yeah.
I don't see the appeal with him at all.
Well, because there was a lot of shouts for him. I think it was just after Jack Ross had left for him to come in at Hibs, and I don't know. I didn't think he's that bad a manager. It can't be as bad as that spell at Aberdeen has shown.
No.
But I just think that it's difficult. I think when you take managers from teams like St Mirren and perhaps I'd maybe say the same with Martindale, like St Mirren and Livingston, they play a very specific type of football. For example, like 11 men behind the ball. Do you know what I mean? It's not like fast flowing free football, like attacking football, like teams like Hibs, Hearts, and Aberdeen want.
Yeah.
And I didn't think the majority of Aberdeen fans would have bought into that style, like his sort of style, because he was known for sort of grinding results out and being hard to beat. But I don't know.
But then Aberdeen had that with McInnes for like 10 years. So
that's what wins up here, though.
I know, but then again, if you lose in the cup to Darvel, you didn't deserve to be a manager at Aberdeen. Like he should have went before the weekend. But ultimately, this is a Hibs podcast, so no one Aberdeen one, so I didn't really care what's happening at their club, other than when we played them. So let's move on to the January transfer window, Calvin. It's been a strange one, for lack of a better phrase. We'll start with those that have left the club, and we'll talk a wee bit about them. Some of them with no real thoughts on because they've never played for Hibs before. But so leaving the club, we had Ryan Porteous, who's went to Watford, Melkerson, who's went to Sparta Rotterdam, Kevin Dabrowski and Jack Bryden both went to Queen of the South, Dimitri Mitchell, who's went to Exeter, if I'm right. Noah Kenna went to Ross County on loan. Stevie Bradley went to Livingston. Joao Balde has went to Arbroath. Bojang went back to the Gambia and spat the dummy out. And Ryan Schofield's been released by the club and recalled by Huddersfield. So is there any in there that were a surprise to you, Calvin? Obviously, Bojang we knew was leaving before the window. We had a feeling that Dimitri Mitchell was leaving. Porteous probably was leaving. So out of the rest of them, and obviously Stephen Bradley left before the window, Out of the rest of them, is there any there that are a big surprise for you, or are you sort of expecting those were the players that were going to leave?
I thought Melkerson was a bit of a surprise. I was really surprised to see that he was one of the ones that moved on because, again, I think the lad is a player. I think there's a player in there. I think his movement's good when he comes on. He was getting a few sub appearances as well, and especially with the deal that they've sort of struck up with that Sparta Rotterdam as well. Like, they're never going to pay £1 million for him.
No.
I get that, but I don't think. I think it undermines everything that Hibs are trying to do, or Ben Kinsella and that we're trying to do by bringing in these like tapping into these markets that were like untapped, like no one was going to, like Norway and that, and try to find a gem, Gambia and try to find a gem, things like that. Like I think it really undermines that sort of route that they took, and I feel like Melkerson showed signs that he had quality and that he can do it in this league, like his goals to Motherwell away. I felt really sorry for him last year because I thought he got chucked in the deep end.
Yeah.
Especially with the injuries and stuff that we had, and he was a leading line at like 19-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, and he wasn't getting the service either. And Nisbet struggled with that service we were getting for the midfield last year, so I felt a bit sorry for him. And especially the fact we went and spent 320 grand on him. I think the number is, and especially that one was linked up because Ben Kinsella's pal Greg, can't remember the boy's second name, but he's some sort of youth development coach or something at Bodo Glimt. The two of them were at Norwich together, and that was over that Melkerson and Hauga deal obviously came through that connection. So for him to move someone on so quickly that he was really excited to get, just made me question, like, mate, do you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, where are you taking our club? That surprised me. I don't think there was many other surprises in there, mate, to be honest with you. I think one of the biggest surprises, to be honest with you, was the fact the amount of players that weren't in the starting 11 that needed. I think there's a lot of players in the starting 11 that needed to go.
Aye.
All of these guys weren't even in around the team. So I don't know how getting rid of these guys. I mean, does it just mean that you've got a smaller group that can focus on the task in hand? I mean, were some of these guys a distraction? Like,
I guess it frees up more money for wages, but you're right though. Like Jack Bryden was probably never going to play for Hibs. We had 4 keepers on the books, so Dabrowski and Schofield probably both needed to go and bring through Murray Johnson. But like the biggest one for me was why bring Noah Kena in and big him up so much, then let him go 6 months later. Like we're talking about him. Like
exactly.
when we spoke to Johnson, he was like, "Oh, Noah Kena is what this club's been missing. He's going to be a great player for us," and then drops him after 9 games or something. Like, I didn't understand it.
And he also said in one of the interviews that the reason he was playing Porteous and Kenna's role was because Kenna had only ever played 15 games in midfield. It's like, well, why did you sign him then?
I know.
I'm not really that asked about Kenna, to be honest with you. Like, I can. He's saying, "Oh, somebody hacked my Twitter and that." Like, I do believe that, mate. There's nobody hacking your Twitter. Like, you're not important that. Do you know what I mean? Folk go and try and hack like Donald Trump's Twitter or Obama's Twitter. That nobody's trying to hack your Twitter. So for him liking those 2 hearts tweets, I think he's at it. Like, I think he was just bitter, to be honest with you, and thought, "Get out, you should go beat." Do you know what I mean? And trying to prove a point that maybe he could have been the difference. So, nah, bad attitude for me. Not bothered.
Aye, well, I think Johnson said he wanted at least 10 out the door, so he's got 9 out so far. Is there anyone sort of looking at the squad just now that you're like, aye, he'll probably leave before the window, or do you think that's us done with the outgoings?
I think it's difficult because quite a lot of these guys are on like proper contracts. You know what I mean? None of them are like short term. I didn't know if Cabaraya was going to perhaps leave. There's been a lot of rumours about him. I didn't even know until the weekend that Lewis Miller was still alive. And then you've got, for me, Doyle Hayes. I have seen a lot of people on Twitter saying that Doyle Hayes should be in the starting 11 and that he's a good player. I don't know if I'm watching a different game or what, but I think when he first came in under Jack Ross and we played that team in the Europa League at home, he was good. But for me, though, I don't fancy him at all. Like, don't think he's a good player at all. I really don't. I think he can only pass backwards and sideways. his decision making, leadership skills. Nah, I don't think he's good enough, mate. Personally, I really don't.
Yeah.
He scored
I
two
think
goals,
if
and I said at the time that I've papered over the cracks. I didn't think he's great. Especially when he was linked with Forest Green and that, mate. I wasn't bothered if he stayed or gold.
yeah,
If he was stayed or
but
went.
I think if there's one player in the squad that I would like to see leave before the end of the window, it's Ewan Henderson. I think
Yeah, definitely.
I tipped him to be our player of the season this year right at the start, but obviously that hasn't worked. But I just think he lacks the desire. I think he lacks the heart. I mean, there's definitely signs of a talented player there, but I just think he'd be better served elsewhere. Probably end up at Millwall with Maloney, I would imagine. But I think if anyone's going to go, it'll be him, I would say. So let's do a wee flip now. Let's look at the incomings, mate. We've only had two, so this shouldn't take too long. But last week we brought in James Jego from some Belgian team. Upin, that's the one. My memory works. What have you thought of Jimmy so far, mate?
I thought it was quite harsh to sort of judge him off the Hearts game there. Tough game to sort of be introduced into, so I didn't think you could really say much. I didn't think it was the type of player we particularly needed. I think in the midfield we need a creative midfielder.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to say it, but like Scott Allen, that type of midfielder, one that can pass the ball forward and sort of unlock defences and link up with the strikers.
Yeah.
I think that's the type of midfielder for me that we're missing. Similar style to McGeoch or Fraser Fivey, good on the ball, forward thinking, attacking. I think we needed that type of midfielder, and I think Diego is a wee bit more of a hard man. Quite similar to perhaps Marvin Bartley, or quite similar to Kenna, who we've just let go.
Yeah.
Seems to be able just to break up play and get the ball back, which is fair enough. But I've seen him diving into a few tackles against Aberdeen, and I thought he looked all right. Not much to go by in terms of minutes played in the Hibs shirt that we can really judge him on. But hadn't heard of him before. I didn't even hear any of the rumours or murmurs about him coming in. So the fact that he's been able to is, and I don't know what you think. I'm a daddy ken anything about the guy, to be honest with you.
I think he's a good player. I think from what I've seen, obviously the Hearts games, you can't really judge him on that. I've seen a few people saying that he should never play for Hibs again after the Hearts game, and you can't say that. You can't say that. But no, I think on Saturday against Aberdeen he looked really good. I think he does what we need a defensive midfielder to do. I don't think he's the type of player that will ping a 40-yard pass when he gets the ball. I think he'll keep it nice and easy. I think play some nice pass in. I think there was one pass where he tried to control it and he just pinged it outside out the stand. So I would hope he doesn't do many more of them. But I think he won the ball every time he went in for the ball, he won it. Might be wrong on that. I might need to look at the stats, but I think there's a player there. I think he'll help us in this half of the season to just get as high in the league as we can, I hope. And the other boy that we signed today for Burnley, CJ Egan Riley, I think it's more of a left field one. I think I don't know. I've only seen him play a couple of times, and from what I've seen, he looks all right. But obviously, he's only played 6 games this season for Burnley, so there's a reason why he's here on loan. I think he's probably fell down the pecking order at Burnley. Obviously, Burnley have got some good centre halves, so I think it's we'll see what he's like, but I think it's a good move for us. I think getting a player from the Championship that's a centre half. We've been the last one we brought in didn't work out well in Nathan Wood, but I'm hoping this one's a wee bit better. Mm-hmm. We were chatting earlier, Calvin. You said you've never heard of him, so what are you?
I've never heard of the guy. Don't know anything about him. So.
What are you hoping he plays for the rest of the season, or are you hoping that he's more of a squad option, or?
I think. How old is he? Is he 20? Did I read he was 25 somewhere, or is that wrong?
No, he's only 20.
You're right, he's only 20. Well, I mean, his age is with Will Fish, so I thought, in terms of tomorrow night, I don't think you can make any changes to that team.
No, you can't.
That team that went ahead and beat Aberdeen 6-0, I think you got to go with the same 11. There's no reason to change it, so I don't think he slots in tomorrow, and I think he said in his interview earlier that he's not really expected to play. He's ready to go, But I don't think he's expected to play tomorrow either, unless there's an injury or someone's not well. But Bashiri's out. Who have we got? We've got Fish and we've got Hanlon.
Fish and Hanlon, that's it.
I think it would perhaps do. It'll probably just be a rotation between the three of them. Imagine it'll be Fish and Hanlon tomorrow, and then I think Paul's carrying an injury as well at this time.
Well, hopefully we bring another one in as well. But
listen, if he can get the ball doing, if he can do the basics right, then it'd be fine for me. Like, just I don't know, mate. I need to see him play. I didn't really follow the Championship football with that really at all. So I've never came across him before.
Yeah. Aye, well, I think. Are you happy with if this is how the window finishes with just 2 players in January, or are you wanting to see us be add 1 or 2 more? Obviously, Johnson said he wanted 2 quality ones, so and I think we've got 1 of them so far without seeing CJ play so far.
Well, we said, me and you had a wee debate on Twitter the other week. You said Hibs hadn't was a weekend or something, Hibs hadn't signed anyone, and I said, well, do you know what? I'm actually all right with that, because I thought it was important that we took our time and we got the right folk. We identified the right people and we got the right people in. Because this, in terms of having a decent end to the season, this needs to be a good window for us, and it's also one of the windows that's going to potentially save his job. So we can't just bring in anybody. I was quite happy for them to take their time and identify the right signings. But one thing I did say to you is that I didn't think we can get to deadline day and try to be scurry some signings over the line on deadline day. It has to be done earlier than that. So if that's the 2 we've got, if someone else comes in tonight, perfect. I didn't want anyone else in tomorrow night. I didn't want us to be last minute signing.
Coming back on the bus to Dingwall try to sign anyone. I want if there's anyone else coming in, I'd like them done tonight. And then
I think we'll just go with what we've got. And I think we start to gel together, and like I said, just starting 11. You can't change it for me. It's got to be the same.
No, I think so. I mean, the only change I would make is bring Nisbet back in, but who for? I think
don't even know if I'd bring him back in. I know
are
he's a top goal scorer and that, but who do you drop? Do you drop McGeady? I mean, McCurdy played really well at the weekend there. I mean, McCurdy's going to be here. He's going to be here long term. I mean, Nisbet will probably go. In the summer. So do you stick with him, or do you try and bleed McCurdy in more? Like, I'm not sure, but I definitely think if McCurdy's sticking around and he's our long-term plan, he has to be involved for me anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think 20 minutes. I don't think 20 minutes a game's enough.
No, I think he got 75 on Saturday, and he played.
He did on Saturday, but when they bring him off the bench, he usually only gets about 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah. He definitely needs more air on the team before people can actually say, oh, he's a good player or he's not very good. Because you can't say after seeing him 5 games for 10 minutes, oh, he's rubbish. You know, I didn't think to impact the game. He's had 10 minutes, but 10 minutes is not in football. So
I seen. Well, you can judge folk because I seen Mitchell or something. I don't never played 70 minutes for Hibs. Like, Jesus Christ.
he was awful.
Not a bad attitude, mate. Not a bad attitude.
Well, before we move on to the women's one, mate, big game tomorrow. I'm going up to Dingwall. It'll be a long day. Bus is leaving at 2:00, and I imagine we'll get back at 2:00, maybe a wee bit earlier. But not looking forward to the journey at all. Looking forward to the game, but not looking forward to getting there or getting home. So, what do you think? Obviously, we both agree that we need to keep the same team, but what do you think the score will be? Because I think Ross County are in decent form, are they? They obviously won on Saturday.
They're near the bottom of the league. They got a good result on Saturday against teams that were also at the bottom of the league. I think it was Kelly they beat 2-0.
And they signed Damon Brophy. They signed Damon Brophy on loan. Obviously, Kenna can't play, which might help us because Kenna got 2 assists on Saturday. But what do you think the score will be, mate? Because I think I'm confident. I think 0-3-1.
I'll go 2-1 Hibs.
2-1. I think the points will come back down the road.
No, I think I'll go 2-0. I think we'll keep another clean sheet.
That would be massive for confidence for Marshall.
I just feel like they've got to get a wee pick me up for that, a wee bounce for that, and I'm expecting them to go. I mean, they've won one in the last 5, so We've only won 5 games all year. Do you know what I mean? So I think that it's a tough place to go. It's always a tough place to go.
Yeah.
But I think we should definitely, especially what we talked about earlier with the incentive of taking 12 points from the next 4 games, and where that would put us in terms of the league come the end of the season. I think it's a must win. It's not a must win, but I think it would be beneficial if we could win it, obviously. But no, I think they've had a pretty poor season. By all means, they've lost. Well, the majority of their games have only won 5, drawn 5. I think it's lost 13. They've no bad at beating teams around them like Kilmarnock.
They beat us a few weeks ago, mind.
A draw with Motherwell and things like that as well. But no, I think we should have enough to beat them, and I'd be expecting us to. So I'll say 2-0 Hibs. I think it'll be hopefully a corner turn, but we'll wait and see.
Who's scoring the goals?
Nisbet in it. Nisbet and McGeady.
I'm going to say Elliot will continue his scoring form. I think he'll score tomorrow. I think I'd like to see Paul Hanlon score, just because I think if defenders can start running goals to their games, that's every position in the park contributing towards goals. I'd like to see a defender score, and if it's Paul Hanlon, great. If it's Will Fish, great. If it's Chabraya or Stevenson, or if it's Cadden, ideal. But I'd like to see Paul score, and I'd also like to see McCurdy get a goal. And then who cares who scores for them? It'll probably be Brophy if it's going to be anyone. But so that brings us nicely towards the end of the men's stuff, and we'll just have a wee maybe 5-10 minute chat about the women to close us off. So obviously we've been on YouTube a lot, so we've been able to be watched more often. And Calvin, you've been able to watch all the games on YouTube, and I've been to a few of them, and we both watched the Partick Thistle game on YouTube yesterday. So what's been your overall thoughts on the women's team recently? Obviously a disappointing loss to Spartans last week, but other than that, we've been in good form, I think. We've beat the teams that maybe been a struggle to beat earlier in the season, like Motherwell beat us earlier. We beat them 2-0. Spartans is never easy. We obviously beat them in the cup, but then lost them in the league. And then Partick Thistle, I can't remember the last time we put more than 2 goals past Partick. So that was obviously very good to win 4-0. But what's your sort of overall take on the women's team just now?
To be honest with you, I think that I've probably been a wee bit underwhelmed. Not that I've obviously not been able to attend as many games as you've had, but like when we had Dean on the podcast leading up to the derby, and he said that one thing I didn't anticipate was that the standard of the league would catch up with us. So I thought, and I kind of said it in the preseason preview. Sorry, in the season preview, I said that I think we'll finish 4th, and I think that's where we'll finish. I think we're a lot better than a lot of the teams below us, and there's obviously a bit of a gap between the teams above us. I didn't think Hearts would do as well as they have.
No, really me too.
Well they've done, and they're 5 points ahead of us in 4th place. So that's disappointing for me. But no, the matches, like you said, they've had some really good results. Obviously, when I saw us play Partick Thistle, that was when me and Jack went to the hospitality earlier at Meadowbank. I thought Partick Thistle were good. I thought Partick Thistle were good. They played well. They were quite stuffy. They defended well. They were tough to beat. They were tough to break down. They defended them in packs as well. And I'm really surprised that we were able to carve them open and score 4 goals, because I actually thought they went a half bad side. Fortunate to get beat 2-1 off with Spartans. 2-0 against Motherwell, 3-0 against Spartans, 4-1 against Dundee United before that. All fantastic results, especially coming off the back of that defeat in the cup final. The girls have been able to pick themselves up, but certainly a lot of firepower going forward in terms of the amount of goals we're scoring, which is really good. So I think it's been a transition season for us. I think they're still in transition. I think some of the signings that Dean had made were good. That was Freda. Am I right in saying? I always get her mixed up for some reason with Crystal Thomas. I don't know why, because their names are nothing like each other. But when she came in, she done really well having a run in the team and that. And obviously, she's went back to Cyprus, I believe. So that was a bit of a shame.
Playing for our old team, Apollon, I think.
But other people have been able to step up and contribute with goals as well. So I think that it hasn't had too much of a defect on the team, which has been really good. So what's your sort of thoughts on it, mate? Because you and Jack are a lot more educated than I am when it comes to the women's team. But I think cut them a bit of slack. I think, like we said, it's their sort of transition season. First season full time. And, you know, well, I think one of the best things and one of the biggest success stories has been for the team this year is the fact the amount of fans in the stadium. But you tell me more about it, mate, because the listeners will be able to get a wee bit more insight for you.
No, listen, this is obviously my first season following them full time. You know, I've been to every home game except the Partick one because I think I was away that night, so I missed that one. Been to the final and been to Motherwell away. So, you know, I've been to virtually all the home games and, you know, a couple of away games this season. And I think the league table is putting us lower than where I think we should be. I think we are probably the fourth best team in the country just now. Obviously, that we've lost 6 games this season. Now, the Celtic one at the start of the season, we lost that 9-0 because, you know, new team, COVID issues, what have you. You know, we lost to Glasgow City twice. That's not great. We've lost to Rangers and we've lost to Motherwell. And I think that's it. I don't think we've lost anyone else. So obviously we're beating the teams that we should be beating. You know, we've only drawn 3 games this season where we probably should have won them all, if I'm honest. So maybe the Hearts one's probably exception to that. I think that 1-1 was probably a fair result. So, like you say, mate, I think it's a transition season. We've got a chance to get another good win on Sunday. You know, we're playing Glasgow Women, who sit bottom of the league with a minus 77 goal difference. Lost all 15 games. And I would hope that we can, you know, put some pressure on Hearts, who I think are currently, if I'm right, 7 points clear. I think they drew yesterday with Rangers and we obviously beat Partick. So 7 points behind them now, which isn't good viewing. It's not good viewing, but I think we'll catch them. And then we've got East Fife in the Cup next week. So I'm hoping that, out of the next 2 games, we can score at least 20 goals. Because Glasgow Women, we beat them 6-0 away in East Fife. If we didn't put at least double figures past them, I'll be very, very surprised. So I'm hoping for at least 20 goals in the next 2 games. Then we've got Rangers away midweek after that, or Rangers away midweek next week, and then it's East Fife. So, you know, out of the next 2 games at home, I'm hoping for 2 big wins. And Rangers is always a hard team, mate. They're a good team. They won the league. Won the league last year unbeaten. Still haven't lost this season, other than Champions League. So it's going to be hard. But I think the 2 signings were brought in, Katie Lockwood and Brooke Nunn. Katie's played more because she's fit, and Brooke's still trying to get up to fitness. And Katie's already provided 2 goals. So I'm happy, mate. I think the squad's looking good. We've got Rachel Boyle to come back. And I think that'll be soon because Dean did say that they're ready for her to come back. They've got a game in mind. So, listen, it's all positive at Hibs Women. I think I'm really enjoying getting to go to the games, following the team. And I think, I would say that more people should come. You know, it's a good, as you said many a time on the podcast, it's good value for money. You're seeing good football, and you're more often than not, you're seeing a Hibs team win at the weekend, which for the men, it's few and far between just now. But for the women, it's virtually every week. So I would encourage more people to come. It's a great atmosphere inside Middlebank, and come along and watch.
It's a nice, friendly environment as well, and it's more like a sort of more of a sort of family atmosphere to it, which is nice. But just to add on to this season, in terms of talking about us being in a transition, I see that the Hibs women, they're still looking for an assistant manager. So they're still on the hunt for an assistant manager to help sort of Dean, which I think if we had that in place, I think that would, obviously spur us on to the next level and take a wee bit of pressure off him, because he was saying how hard he works when he's obviously for the job. So the more people in there and appointing people in the right positions, I think will obviously add much of a benefit to the squad and perhaps help them propel towards the upper echelons of the league.
Aye, well, I think it's probably a good place to finish, mate, I would say.
Aye, absolutely. I'm been to get my dinner anyway, so it'll be class.
Aye, well, we'll be back next week. We'll hopefully have Aidan on next week. Potentially another guest joining us next week to talk about do a wee transfer window wrap up as a whole, look at the Ross County game and the St Mirren game. But until next time.
Hi, this is Siobhan Hunter.
Hi, this is Chris Gaunt.
Hi, this is Cliff Pike from Hibs TV.
Hi, this is Tam McManus.
And you're listening
And you're listening to
And you're listening to
to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast.
the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast.
the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast.
To Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. Go on the lads.
What a moment this is. It's Liam Henderson to deliver. David Gray has scored. The captain. Hibs are standing on the brink of history after 114 years.
Strong opinion. I love the strong opinion.